Alafia, welcome. Mhm. Devin, where are you coming from? Oh, you're on mute.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hey, I'm sorry. I look, this is my first time really doing this, so I'm trying to get everything together right now. I said I'm in New Orleans right now.
Okay, nice, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I came back home for the weekend.
That's beautiful. We are going to have a slideshow real quick.
Okay.
So that was just some pictures from Benin, which is where our
Mhm.
home temple is, and some of the different um, trips and things that we do there, and the programs that we have, which Mianu will talk more about later in the workshop. So to begin, you've been doing a great job with muting your mic and and then unmuting it when we're interacting. The workshop will be around 2 hours or so. So make sure that you have like water, and there's going to be a lot of really good information. So if you have something to take notes with, that would be great. But we always begin our workshops by honoring those who come before us and honoring our home temple in Benin, where we get our knowledge, the knowledge that's been passed down for generations. There's been an unbroken lineage of um, elders and priests who have steward the knowledge to be able to um, share with us today. And so I greet you and I greet your ancestors with the utmost love and respect. I'm so glad that you're here today, that you've taken
Thank
your
you.
time to come to this Heal the Healer workshop and learn some good tools that you can use to heal both yourself and your community. I begin by honoring our great matriarch, Nae Bujitao Animaso, who is the matriarch of and the director of the Nazia Fa International Spiritual Institute in Benin, and also my own teacher, Mianu Ananasi, who is the director of Nazia Fa Spiritual Institute here in North America. I am so grateful for her guidance and her spiritual protection and all that she offers me. And so me, who am I? I am a Kwabi J. I'm a full-time Nazia Fa Spiritual Institute adept. So I live here at the temple in San Diego, and I serve here as I am going deeper on my spiritual path. Mm. Excuse me, I've been a little under the weather. I've been taking a lot of the herbs to help with my immune system. Um,
Oh,
so
I get it. Trust me.
if you need some, we have Casa Grande, which is great for your immunity. It's a blood cleanser. And so it's really potent. So we don't have it up just on the website, but if it's something that you're interested in, then you can DM either Mianu or Abla or me to get more information about it. But
Okay.
yeah, so before I became an adept, I started my spiritual journey learning different healing modalities like Reiki energy healing and emotional freedom tapping and breath work, which is what I'll be sharing today, some aspects
Mhm.
of that. Um, because I identified that I needed to heal my body and heal my nervous system to be able to get a stronger connection to my spirit, which I greatly desired. And once I had gotten to a certain level in my healing, that's when I started to really get to the root of who I am. And I started to ask questions about where I came from, my ancestors, their traditions. And that's when I got presented with the opportunity to become a temple adept. And so on this journey, I have grown so much and I have a greater understanding of a lot of things that I was learning really throughout my life. Um, I began, I was raised Christian, and a lot of times, a lot of things didn't make sense. But as I got traditional knowledge, I understood what they were trying to teach more.
Mhm.
And I got where a lot of those principles were truly coming from. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to come today and to teach you some healing techniques. Are you familiar with breath work at all?
Yes, I am.
Nice. So I always begin with talking about the nervous system. Can you tell me what you know about the nervous system?
As far as like pertaining to our spirituality with it.
Um, More of just like
Or you
its
just mean
purpose
like in
or its
general?
function. Yeah, in general.
Well, as far as I know, is like with its purpose, and as far as that is like helping those neurotransmitters, like go through our body, releasing that dopamine, to help us
Mhm.
connect with one thing, keeping that memory, those electrical cells. I think about like how that's connected to our ancestors, the womb, the memory, just that lineage, that knowing that we have to just be passed down. And even some traumas can be passed down, even through birth. That's embedded in our blood and that nervous system as well.
Yes, yes. And so some of that ancestral stuff that's been passed down, Abba is going to talk about in the next session in ancestral veneration. But you're right. The nervous system deals a lot with transmitters. It is the system in our body that creates the feelings and sensations from our thoughts, from the non-physical. And it also does the opposite. It takes different physical sensations that we have and it can affect our thoughts as well, right? Like in um, nature, we know that there's always balance, right? And so within the nervous system, there are two parts. There is the sympathetic, which has the autonomic, which is in control of a lot of our automatic functioning, like our breathing, our heart rate, things like that. And then there's also a second part to it. But the first part is the activating side. And so it releases um, things like adrenaline and cortisol throughout our body when we are feeling in danger, right? Which this was super important back when our ancestors were living in very physically dangerous spaces, like when they could come across something that could cause them harm. Those chemicals would rush through their body so that they would be able to um, escape that situation very quickly, right? So a lot of the blood would go from their brain and go to their extremities so that they could get out of that situation quickly. Um, and today, we don't face the same imminent physical danger as much, but we still live with a very activated system because whenever our body recognizes that we're in danger, it starts to activate. And so danger today looks a lot like worry. It looks like fear. It looks like stress and anxiety. Um, and those feelings, when they're not brought back into balance, then they can lead to more serious health conditions that a lot of people see, like depression and anxiety. It's been linked to accelerated aging, and it's even been linked to Alzheimer's. And so because nature works so beautifully and it always has ways to bring itself into balance and harmony, we have that second part of our nervous system, which is the parasympathetic part. And that's the part that brings us back into balance and allows us to be in harmony. But these sometimes can just sound like terms. So I like to talk about what it really feels like in your life. So when
Mm-hmm.
you're feeling really stressed, how does your body normally react to that?
Oh, I can literally, when I'm under stress, it's like my body would generally go into like a fasting mode, honestly. And when I mean by that, like when I was already, going down my spiritual journey and all, I knew the one thing in order to get my body in that alignment was to, do the detoxing and the fasting. And it got to the point where it's like my body would, because I'm an athletic person, like I know how to do the diet and eating well. So it wasn't going to be a problem for me to do that. But I noticed like since then, even more, like my body would naturally not want to eat. Like I wouldn't want to really be violent. The most I do is just want to drink water and just sit in the sun.
Yeah.
And I noticed like that's the first sign of it. Like I won't have an appetite. And I noticed it'll be around the time when I've probably been and ate something that I normally wouldn't eat already. Or if
Hmm.
I'm around, like when I come back out here, food in New Orleans is totally different. So it's like
Yeah.
I try to incorporate, our meals that we already have, but make them more, electrified, more alkaline, more healthy.
Mhm.
And I noticed like the healthier choices out here are very, very slim. And I'm like, okay, well, that's one of the foremost, main sources of what's keeping us down already as humans out here and making us operate like on a low vibrational level. And I'm like, it
Yeah.
really starts off from the food. And I've noticed now when my body realized I'm going through that type of phase, anything, it naturally shut like it don't want to eat, it don't want to eat anything. For example, like when we sick, our body naturally don't want to eat certain things because it knows we need to detox, we need to fast, we need to get whatever it is that bug out of the system first.
Right. It sounds like you have a really nice relationship with your body. And when it
Oh
starts
yeah.
to notice that you are starting to get out of alignment, it naturally does what it needs to get back into alignment. And so that's really great that you listen to your body and do that. Um, because yeah, there's a lot of things that we consume that disrupt our alignment, and it sounds like you naturally start to go towards the things that you need to activate your parasympathetic system and to bring yourself back in alignment. Are there other things that you have noticed help bring you a state of calm? Like, are there places you like to go or things that you put on that help bring you calm or peace?
If anything is when I have less clothes on and I'm just outside by myself. Like I'm really big on like being like I'm an outside person. And since coming into that, I'm like, okay, well it makes sense. And I'm like, I really just feel more comfortable and better. Well, I just be outside or near water, really. Near the
Yeah.
water, outside underneath the sun. I just go running or try to work out a little bit. You okay?
I definitely resonate with that. I tend to go out and ground myself, shoes off,
Definitely
just
that
in the
grounding. That's
ground.
exactly.
Or, I like literally physically hug trees when I'm feeling super upset. So it's great that you know to tap into nature and to get that natural healing, to bring yourself in balance. And sometimes we're not able to do that, sometimes we have to go to stores or go to work or do these different things, and we're not able to get outside in nature, but we can use our
Yeah.
breath to be able to activate our parasympathetic system as well. And so um, I'm going to teach some different techniques to be
Mm-hmm.
able to activate your parasympathetic system. So, are you familiar with breathing from your diaphragm?
Yes.
Yeah, so when you activate your diaphragm, since it's a muscle, it more powerfully moves the oxygen through our body, right? And it gets rid of that
Mm-hmm.
carbon dioxide that can build up when we're not taking the proper amount of breaths. And so the easiest way to start to strengthen your diaphragm and activate it is by laying on your back and breathing from your stomach. I see
Mm-hmm.
right now you have a little one on you, so you're not able to do that. But it's really great to do like when you first wake up because typically, we're laying in bed. So you can
Right.
be by belly breathing. But to do that, you really just want to focus on your stomach and place a hand on your stomach so you can track how much your stomach is expanding and contracting. And so what you want to do is breathe in through your nose and your stomach will expand, and then out through your mouth, and really pull tight those stomach muscles and push all the air out your body. And so we will just practice that for a few breaths so you can get a sense of what that feels like, and you can start to practice that. So let's begin. Breathe in through your nose.
Is it easier to do it laying down, or can I do it like sitting straight up?
You can do it sitting straight up. It is a little bit more difficult in the beginning just because your diaphragm is a muscle. So if you're not,
Mm-hmm.
used to working it, then it can be a little bit more challenging. But you can definitely do it sitting up.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, my little, she's not feeling too hot right now, so she's all on me right
Mhm. Yeah, no, I feel that. I have a daughter as well. And it's like whenever they're not feeling good, they want to be just all up under it. And I feel it.
now.
Like I was the same way. Whenever I was sick, I wanted to be with my
Huh.
mom, even when I was an adult. Oh,
Like
I hope
she
you
likes
feel
to be
better.
directly on me. I'm like, you could just sit right next to me. Okay, ready? Come on. All right, come on, just hold my arm.
Hmm.
Okay.
All right. So breathe in through your nose. Feel your hand go out and exhale through your mouth. Feel your hand fall. Again, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. One last time, in through your nose and out through your mouth.
I wasn't visualizing, I was doing it through my stomach.
Yeah, I notice a lot like when you would breathe out, your chest would expand a lot. So just really focus on it coming from your stomach.
Okay.
Okay, but it does take time because it is a muscle, like when you go to the gym, like you can't expect to just be able to pick up large weights at first, So,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot of retraining because we're used to breathing from up here. And in your
Mm-hmm.
lungs, it's a more shallow breath. And so the breathing from your diaphragm just leads to more relaxation because it's moving the oxygen more efficiently. And so that's belly breathing. The second one is the extended exhale, which also is utilizing belly breathing, but it uses a count. So it depends on you and your breathing pattern, but what you want to make sure is that your exhale is longer than your inhale, right? So when we do the count, we breathe in for 2 counts and then we exhale for 4 counts.
Okay.
Okay. And so I'll count for you, and I will tell you when to inhale and when to exhale. And there's a slight hold in the middle. So, and you're going to be breathing in through your nose and then out through your mouth. Okay. Inhale, 2, hold, 3, exhale, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, hold, 3, exhale, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 2, hold, 3, exhale, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, hold, 3, exhale, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, you can return to your regular breathing pattern.
Oh.
How did that one feel in comparison to the first one?
It felt more, I'll say like a little bit more natural. Like,
Yeah.
the first one was me trying to like, two in your head, trying to make sure like, okay, I want to make sure I'm doing it right. Like, okay, I'm doing it. But then as it gets more, you do it it starts feeling like, you're falling into like a pattern.
Yeah, you find your flow. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
noticed that your chest wasn't moving as much as in the first one. And so that's the reason I really like the extended exhale, because it
Mm-hmm.
forces your diaphragm to move when you blow out for longer than you're inhaling, versus when we're conscious of breathing. Sometimes it's
Right.
difficult in the beginning to be breathing from our diaphragm. But this last exercise is really good and really potent as well. And it's called alternate nostril breathing. And so if you're congested, then it might be a little bit difficult, just because it's all done through the nose. And so I'll show you what to do first. You're going to be using your thumb and your index finger, and you're going to close one nostril and inhale through your open nostril. And you want to inhale completely until you can't take in any more breath. And then you switch and close and then blow out the other nostril,
Mm.
all of that air that you just took in. And then when you inhale, you're going to inhale through that open nostril. And then you're going to switch and exhale. And you'll repeat that pattern. All right. Good. All right. Good. One last time. You can return to your regular breathing pattern. How did that last one feel?
The last one, it felt pretty good. It felt
Out
good.
of
I
the,
felt like it was like a nice relief.
yeah. Yeah, this one is really good for syncing your left and right brain, because you're just
Mm-hmm.
circling the air through your nostrils, which is really good for helping bridge that gap. Because, like we talked about earlier, like you want to have balance. You don't want to be too much in your right brain or too much in your left brain. You need both to be able to live a balanced life and get things done, right? And
Mm-hmm.
be able to have the relationships that you want. You can't be too in your masculine or too much in your feminine. You need to be able to balance both, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you ever feel yourself really getting excited, like overly excited or anxious, you can use these breathing exercises to help bring your body back into balance. And they're really great because over time, as you do them consistently, then you will notice that you don't get triggered as often. I'm not sure if that's something that you deal a lot with, because it sounds like you already have some good grounding practices, but it is really good just to do it continuously, because your breath
Oh
is something
yeah.
you always have with you, right? So I like to end the sessions with doing belly breathing and pairing it with um, affirmations, right? Because reprogramming your mind and telling it the things that it needs is a really great way of just having a deeper, more like well-rounded way of seeing the world. A lot of times, especially being Black women, we don't get the messages and hear the things that we need to. So pairing your affirmations with your breath is a really powerful way to really lock
Mm-hmm.
in that harmony in your body. So the affirmations that we will do is on the inhale: I am safe and have all that I need. And on the exhale, I release my need for control. Okay, and so I'm going to let you regulate your own breath, and I'll just be repeating those affirmations for the next 3 minutes. Okay. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. Last breath. I am safe and have all that I need. I release my need for control. You can return back to your regular breathing. Really lock in this feeling of peace and take this throughout your week. Remind yourself when things start to feel overwhelming that everything that you need is right around you, or you have the ability to call on your ancestors and your spiritual team to be able to give you the things that you need. And you
I
don't
guess
have
my
to be.
spirit knew that that was my kids.
Yes, that was
They
so
know they the
beautiful.
one keep me grounded. That's what keep me going right there, both of
Good,
them.
good. Questa, it's good to see you, love.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. I say, Goddess.
Of
Is it
course.
another one that we go into, or is it
No,
still
so
here?
it's gonna be in the same one. And so I'm actually going to give the floor over to my big sister in the temple, Abla. She's an incredible woman. She juggles many different things. She has a career and a husband, and as a mother and as a spiritual adept, she is working in all these different areas, and she has a lot of really great knowledge and a great eye in a way of seeing a big picture and being able to zone in on really key information and give practical steps on how to um, utilize that information to be able to get the things that you want. And so I'm excited for you to be able to hear from her and to delve into the world of ancestral veneration. So, Abla, I give you the floor.
Thank you, Alafia Guavi. Thank you for the beautiful introduction and the sharing your wisdom on the breath work. As we live our lives and have various things going on, those tools are very, very, very needed to balance ourselves. So thank you very much. Um, welcome, Sunny. Welcome, Quista. It's good to
Hey,
see you
Abba.
again. Hi. Okay, well, this is the ancestral veneration portion of the Heal the Healer workshop. Please, I know you've been here before, so I may need your help to go over some of the items that we went over last time, and to shed some new light on the subject. But first, let me give honor to my ancestors and all of the energies that come with me to support me in this lifetime. I give great honor and gratitude to my mentor and my teacher. She is a Mami Wata priestess, and in traditions we call that a Mianu. But in the States, we know her as Priestess Hanera. So I'm very thankful and grateful for the opportunity to share this traditional wisdom. And also, I give honor to my temple, Mnazi Fa, here in the US, and the sacred temples in Benin, which we are connected to. They are the ones who teach us and guide us and keep tradition. So we are very thankful. Today, as you know, you all know me, but today we're going to go over ancestral veneration. And what we're going to do is gain a better understanding about the practice by addressing some of the stigmas or negative connotations that are associated with ancestral veneration. We're going to work to break down those stigmas by understanding what is the underlying base, right? What is that thing that is underlying these stigmas, and then gain a better understanding as to why ancestral veneration is so important to the healer, and go over some ways that we can begin our practice, a sustainable practice, right? So let's get started on the class. So again, this is an entry level class. I know many of us on our journeys have some sort of connection to our ancestors. Like me and like many others, this is where our journey starts, right? It really starts with our ancestors, and then our journey is guided that way. So today, right now, I want to start with the first point, which is addressing some of the stigmas around ancestral veneration. And when I say stigmas, I mean those negative connotations, or the things that you hear from family or see in media or hear from church. Those type of negative connotations around ancestral veneration. So I wanted to ask you, Sunny, what have you heard, or what negative connotations or stigmas, let's say, do you find associated with ancestral veneration?
Oh, my bad. I was trying to get off the mute. Oh, just from being from New Orleans, we hear the good, the bad, and it's just like over and over. You have people that'll tell you, oh, it's not good to just let the dead be dead, but these are the same people that will spit on a broom if you sweep your feet. Or,
Mm-hmm.
throwing salt over their shoulders because somebody wasted. But they'll tell you like, oh, stay away from it. Or they'll try to convince you like it don't really hold as much power to it as it does. But as time went on, it started making sense of why. Because it really just became from like not being able to, live that essence and be genuine to yourself. Because, there was a point where just beating on the drums was outlawed, like it was illegal for slaves, for black people to even beat on the
Mm-hmm.
drums because they knew that was a form of communication for us. So it got down all the way to the point where we couldn't even just be our natural self. And like being from like I see it daily. Like I can it's just the things people say over and over. Like, oh, you doing this, like what is that? You burning candles? That's witchcraft. Oh, you can't even use a black candle. I'm like, do you know every color candle have its own meaning? And just because it has that, everybody uses it for whatever purpose they genuinely use. it for,
Mm-hmm.
for whatever they use it for. Yeah, I didn't heard it all. I didn't heard it all. But me being who I am, like, I personally experienced these things. Like, I felt it for myself. And that's not something somebody else can come in and just take away from me. Like, if I
Mm-hmm.
felt that connection, that's like telling somebody you can't really talk to God, you can't hear God, but
Yeah.
you're not going to hear people tell them that. So how you going to tell me what I can't hear and receive from my ancestors?
Yeah, yeah, you touched on really important points, and you being from Louisiana, New Orleans, you have a little bit of a different spin on some of the things that you've heard about ancestral veneration. Knowing that, and in the South, primarily knowing that ancestral veneration is kind of ingrained within our culture for survival. Um, Sometimes we see them as superstitions or old wives' tale, or just that's what they did, that's what my grandma did. So like you said, they kind of, one of the stigmas is that ancestral veneration is not so powerful, right? Not so important, right? They want to make you feel that way. So devaluing the practice, we definitely see that. You mentioned about witchcraft or something being wrong about it, and we definitely hear that from our families or our church members. What about you, Quista?
This unmute don't be wanting to unmute. Um, I think I said before, well, for me, I'll say, coming up in the church, everything is witchcraft. You can't do nothing without it being witchcraft. And I'm like, well, look, this is me. You can take it or leave it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
light my candles. I'm gonna pray to whoever I decide to pray to. I'm gonna honor the people that came before me. Like, and I'm like, what's so bad? What could be so bad about honoring who came before you? I never understood how was that witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
In what form is that witchcraft? Y'all hang pictures. Y'all got necklaces around y'all neck with their pictures in them. Y'all got tattoos with them on y'all arm. I mean,
Yes. No, yeah, you're right. You're
like,
right. There's a certain
so
amount.
if I want to do it my way, let
Mm-hmm.
me do it my way. You're really doing it anyway. If you just want to be technical about the situation, you got that picture big on their whole own little altar, but you don't call it an altar.
Right,
This is
right.
just where your mother or your great grandmother was, and I'm like, well, you're doing the same thing. No,
Well,
y'all be putting candles and water. Okay, well, they thirsty. They may
yes,
be hungry. I mean, like,
yeah, it's something they don't understand. They don't understand, and what we don't understand, it's what we don't understand. They tell us, like, in psychology, it's the fear of the unknown, right? Everybody knows this, the fear of the unknown, and so what we don't understand, we sometimes tend to put these unfair or maybe untrue associations with the practice that we don't understand. But for us as African Americans within, the African diaspora, we really have to understand that at the base of these stigmas, what do they make you feel, right? When you hear, that's wrong, you're doing witchcraft, you're, this, that, or the other, these negative connotations, it make us feel scared. It give us a certain amount of fear. And for those who are starting on their practice, this is the hump that they have to overcome just to get started, right? This fear of, I'm doing something wrong, or I'm trying to connect to source, but this fear that everybody's telling me this is going to disconnect me, right? And you touched on a question: why? Why are these stigmas associated with this practice? Why I cannot practice my traditional practices of connecting to my ancestors and getting that wisdom, and getting that guidance, and reverencing my ancestors. And for us throughout the African diaspora, we really have to look at slavery. We have to look at transatlantic slave trade. We have to look at colonialism. We have to look at the oppression that's happening of African peoples in this country. One of the most important things that we also have to understand is the trauma that occurred through our history, right? At the base of the transatlantic slave trade, we were separated from our home. We were separated from our lands. We were separated from our origins, right? And forcefully and violently done. So that force and that violence creates a trauma, but also the separation creates a trauma as well, because all Africans in the diaspora, we when we are looking towards tradition, we are looking towards reclaiming our culture, there is a gap, there is a separation that must be overcome. And that separation is really indicative of the separation that happened us from our origin. I want to make sure that everybody understands, because when people say indigenous, sometimes we don't think about Africans, but Africans are indigenous, right, to their lands. We are indigenous people to Africa, except we are separated at the moment, right? And in that separation for indigenous people, there's some core things about us, right? All around the world, right? Indigenous people are, one, connected to nature. They are connected to nature, right? They're wanting to, their whole society, spirituality, community, work, healing is all connected to nature, the environment around them. So when you are separating indigenous people from their lands, you are really creating a rift and separation in their identity as a collective, as a community. And when you have that separation and that forceful separation, it causes a collective loss, right? A collective memory loss. And that's what Africans in the diaspora are dealing with today. So, in traditions, in spirituality and traditions, your ancestors are held at a very, very high esteem. Very, very powerful for you, right? And when you think about the place ancestors have within spirituality, some of us looking to reclaim our spirituality or reclaim our culture, we find that, oh, maybe they're, my culture practice, Orisha or Ifa or Vodun, and they look at all of the divinities and figure out which divinity they most have a similarity, right, to, or have an affinity to. And most of the time, they go right into focusing on how to appease a deity. But in traditions, we understand that everything that is from spirit world must come through everything that comes to you must first come through your bloodline, first come through your ancestors. Okay, so this is one reason why ancestors are so revered within our culture, is because they are our connections. They are the way that we connect to the spirit world. They are the way that we ask for things. We give thanks. They are the way we connect to everything in our spiritual composition, as far as deities, as far as energies, as far as what we're wanting to manifest. They must all first go through your ancestors. So it's very important to understand that aspect traditionally. And when you understand that aspect traditionally, then you can better understand why the colonizer, the slave master, the European would want to disconnect you from that connection. They want to disconnect you from that power. They'll want to disconnect you from how you access God. If you also understand that when Europeans came into Africa, a lot of the knowledge they took, right? If you just think about it generally, let's say, if you went into somewhere with ill intentions and you grab power out of a place from a people, would you let those people know how to then access that power? You grab that power for control. Would you then give that power back to the people? No. In America, primarily, because that's what I know, America, primarily, that's exactly what happened. So, our practice of connecting to our ancestors, connecting to source, connecting to power, aligning with nature is a very, very powerful thing that we have as African peoples. And if we are separated from that, then we are separated from our power. We are separated from our source connection. And this is why stigmas have been put in place, right? For us to fear, to step away, to cause further separation from a practice that is used primarily to access, right? So then let's go into ancestral veneration and why it's important for the healer. Priestess Hanera always teaches that a healer cannot be a heal at their primary level, cannot be a true healer until they've healed themselves, right? As many a times we heal from where we once were hurt because we now have the pathway to show somebody, to guide somebody along their path to healing. So when I talk about ancestral veneration and healing the healer, it is very important to understand that ancestral veneration is a way that one, yes, we connect to source, but it is also a way that we heal ourselves. It's a way that we heal the traumas that are within our bloodline. And that's how we heal our ancestors that are in need. And so that's very important for a healer, one who is working in their gifts, because your gifts are coming primarily from your bloodline, those things that are passed down to you, right? If your grandmother was a singer and now you have this beautiful gift of song, right? Of sound, and you're working in that gift, right? That has been passed down to you through your bloodline. If you are like if you're, let's be practical, if you are a construction worker or architect who is able to build houses and you have the eye for it, you can put the math together, and you had a great grandfather who was also a builder, right? You are working in your bloodline gift that is passed down to you. But in order to work in that gift at the most optimal level and give back to existence, your bloodline has to be healed. The gaps have to be closed. Those ancestors that are needing help need to be helped and healed so that the divine wisdom can flow down to you, right? So this it's very important for healers to look at ancestral veneration as a way to heal generational trauma, to heal and reconnect back to their traditions, back to their source. Okay. So quickly, we're going to talk about a practical definition of ancestral veneration. Sunny, do you have a definition for what it means to venerate?
My definition of generate is just like, I would say, like, just an example, I'm gonna give you an example. Like pour libations, like showing our gratitude, honoring those that came before us, or just showing appreciation, but like in
Hmm.
a certain format, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. That's the sentiment for sure.
Form.
Quista, do you have the formal definition from last time?
I was looking, but I think it's in my other tablet. But
Okay, okay.
I mean, just to lift up, I feel like to put them on a pedestal is my opinion.
Hmm.
Um, Form a line of communication in a sense. Lift up so they can, feed into them so they can feed into us is the way I feel.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, okay, well, we're gonna go step by step. That's definitely also a sentiment about ancestral veneration. But to venerate, you're gonna want to write this down. Venerate, right? Not ancestral veneration, but just to venerate in general. The textbook definition of that is to lift up, to hold in high esteem, to respect, and to revere. So to lift up, to hold in high esteem, to respect, and to revere. Okay, so when we say ancestral veneration, it is to lift up, to exalt, to respect, to revere your family members, your bloodline family members who have passed on to the other side, who have transitioned. So we are venerating our family members who have passed on to the other side. It is those family members who are your ancestors. And that goes all the way from your grandparents, all the way from the beginning to the beginning of existence for your bloodline. Okay? So when you understand the definition for ancestral veneration, just looking at the textbook definition, does that sound like a witchcraft or doing something that will disconnect you from source or something that is wrong or scary? No, no. Because when we're growing up, we're taught to respect your elders, right? You're taught to honor your mother and father. You're you're taught to do these things in life for those who are living, your family, right? And that honor and that respect and that reverence doesn't end when they transition, right? You only probably should increase it, right? Because now you have support on the other side. You have support on that side and this side. You have connection, right? You're building a relationship. You're healing, okay? So I think we have about 5 more minutes. And I want to go over some ways that we can honor our ancestors, venerate our ancestors, but on a daily basis, practical ways. So I will ask each one of you to advise how you're currently honoring your ancestors and give us some ways that we can do that. I'll start with you, Sunny.
One way, well, I have a few ways that I do with mine. Especially, I guess, knowing now that coming into this and I'm real big on like, just the knowing that spirituality is the unseen science. Because I love science as well. So being able to know, like, yeah, I can prove this with these very spirits around. Like, it can be proven. And honestly, knowing like I'm in the middle of a transition, like we're moving and everything. And the one way that keeps me connected, knowing that not being able to be grounded like I normally, I'm out of my comfort zone right now. But the one thing that keep me motivated and going and on a day close is my daughter. It's because
Yeah.
I know how important and how dynamic that mitochondrial, DNA cell is. And when I'm not feeling that connected as far, when I want to, I literally just know how she got here. Like I remind myself, like, you caught this, baby. You manifested here. You made grandma, these women that much, and you was able to get them back through this child, through your children, through my divine womb, really.
Definitely. Yeah, respecting those who really came before us and understanding how those manifest in your child, right? Raising your child, right? That's definitely very, very important to keep our culture. So even in doing that, you are a healer for your family, for your daughter, right? And so picking up this type of practice is very important, and teaching is very important in order to give as much as you can, right, in that area. How about you, Quista? Which ways can we honor our ancestors? How can we venerate? You're on mute if you're talking. Mute, unmute. There
There
you
we
go.
go. That music exciting me for some reason. I, for one, am teaching myself to communicate with them more. I don't feel like I do it enough, but I do keep them with fresh water. I do my candles for them, have their picture. Um, Sometimes flowers, sometimes food, if I know, something that they like or that they utilized a lot or something. Uh, I use that for them. Now, what I do need to practice, like I said, I need to communicate better with them, talk to them more than what I do. I don't feel like I do it enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm working
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, you brought up some good points. So you're gonna want to write this down because I'm gonna give you a list, right? And some of the things, Quisa, you're already doing. And you mentioned that you're trying to talk to them more. And I hope that with these things that I tell you, that you're able to start to develop a routine, right? And starting small and growing that routine into something that is sustainable for you is important. Because really, when you're talking about ancestral veneration, to do it is important, but to be consistent in doing it is how you see the change, how you develop the relationship, how you increase your power, how you increase your healing, right? So we want to do what we can do. And if we can do one thing every day, then that's better than doing this big thing once a month. Okay. So one, we can say their names. Saying their names out loud is a way to honor your ancestors, to venerate them. Um, Putting up pictures, telling their stories. Both ladies have children. That's a perfect storyboard. Tell the stories of your grandmas and grandpas and great, aunts. Tell their stories of how they lived their lives. Um, Continue their works, right? If you have a grandmother who was an artist and you say, okay, I'm just going to pick up this as a hobby and I'm going to express myself through art, right? That is a way to honor and venerate your ancestors. Again, as we talked to, if you have a certain bloodline trait that you are now working and you're giving back to the existence you're doing, that is a way of venerating your ancestors. Giving offerings, cooking the foods that they like, water, those are good ways to venerate your ancestors. uh, Colors. So wearing white or having that white candle, Sunny. Wearing white is another way to venerate your ancestors because we know that colors give off and attract certain vibrations, right? And we also know in traditions that white is the color of the ancestors. It's the color that attracts the energy of your ancestors. So when you need to be in close communication, when you are doing your breath work, when you are at your altar or saying names, putting up pictures, cooking foods, wear white so that you can connect to your ancestors. Okay? Of course, music and dance is a traditional way to also honor your ancestors. Okay? So those are some practical ways that you can venerate your ancestors. Of course, developing a practice of, developing an altar or a prayer space is ideal. And Priestess Hanera can give more details on how to do that, either by coming back to these sessions or booking a consultation on the website is a best way to begin to get the details and the science behind ancestral veneration. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you, ladies. It was so good seeing you again. Um, and I hope that this helps you further your practice and become more consistent so that you can begin to heal and begin to work at the optimal levels in your healing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashe, Ashe.
Thank you so much, Adwa, for sharing all of that really potent information and just reminding us some really easy things that we can do to connect with our ancestors on the daily. So we are going to be hearing from Priestess Hanera Mianu herself. So she's an incredible, incredible woman. And she began her initiatic path with a Kemetic initiation. After that, that led her to becoming a high-ranking Elafiatron adept. And as she went through that process, she began to specialize more, becoming a Hono, which is a priest, and even more specifically, like Abla mentioned, a Mianu, which is a Mami Wata priestess. Um, as well as all of those things, she is also a mother of five. She is a business owner. She has multiple businesses. She's a pioneer for bringing those in the diaspora back to their traditions. And it is such an honor and a privilege to be able to introduce her to you all. So I am so grateful to give the floor to Mianu.
Thank you, Akwavi. Hello, everyone. How are you guys? Is everyone's camera? You would think after 3 weeks of doing this, I would be able to do it correctly. Okay, everyone's camera's on. I can see each of you, and you guys can see and hear me okay. Yeah? Okay, good, good, good. I'm honoring you. I'm honoring you, your ancestors, everything that's walking with you, your spiritual team. I'm saying hello to everyone today. I'm giving acknowledgement and respect to my Queen Mother, in which I stand proudly on her shoulders. She is my woman king, Naye Buji Thao Anamaso II. Straight out of Weta. You know how in the West we have straight out of Compton? She's straight out of Weta. And her bloodline has can be traced all the way back to the beginning of time, down to its root animal, which is amazing to hear them, the children, tell their lineage story and go and call out all of their grandfathers and grandmothers. That is so much power. And from the beginning of time, her bloodline has made a vow to take care of the unseen world. So they've been priests the whole way through. And so when I tell you something, it's not what I got from Harvard or a certificate program or something that I got a bachelor's or an associate's degree in. It's something that I gave my blood, sweat, tears, and I earned from the elders in Africa, from the matriarch herself. And so all of my time and servitude in my own pursuit of reclaiming my heritage as a diasporan here in the States, I offer that to you on your path to help you reconnect. Yeah, so good morning, good morning, good morning. Now, Sunny, if I'm remembering correctly, I remember you. You were in Houston and you were sitting directly to my left, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I remember. And you came with someone that day, didn't you?
Yeah.
What was your sister's name?
Lex,
Lex.
Alexa.
Alexa, I
She
feel
had
like
the little thing on her head with the glasses.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Is she the sister that is she taking classes at the Earth Center? Is that the sister? No?
I'm not sure. I know she got the she did the spiritual bath and everything
Okay,
there.
okay, okay. No, but I definitely remember you. I remember your energy. And you said you would be back, and here you are.
Yeah.
And so that's good. It's good to see you. It's good to see you too, Quista. Both of you, I remember you from that Sunday
What's the speaker
or
went
that
out?
day. You were sitting in the back, straight in front of me, but
towards the back. Yep,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
remember. So you guys are here today. So as promised, you came at a good time because we are going to be fasting and doing detox in the month of October. And I told everyone last month that in September, when we started doing the Sundays, every Sunday in September, we would start to talk more about fasting and preparation for that. And so when you came in and you were talking during Aquavi J's session, I was listening the whole time. I said, "Oh, okay, look at her, just divinely guided, right?" Um, and so it's just good timing. Continue to ask for that in your life, to always be in good timing. Because that's a gift. That's a sign that they are with you and you are connected with them. So I'll do a brief recap to catch you up. And I will also ask questions to see which sessions and where you are, Quista, because if I need to teach, I want to know where I need to start. And I do these 3 sessions. Um, I do 3 sessions every Sunday, and we've been doing it for about a month now. So I always got to gauge where you guys are. So Quista, were you on last week or was it the week before?
I was on last week, I think. Or was it the week?
Okay.
Mm.
Tell me what you remember and what you remember from the session with me. What did we go over?
Well, on the one I was on, you didn't get to complete it. You came on and we was running out of time. So we didn't get to go over a lot when you were here.
Okay. Okay. Um, did we talk about purity?
I think so.
What do you remember? What's the definition of purity?
I don't know the exact definition that you gave, but I remember you saying something about maybe getting rid of so you can be open for, the new things to come. Um, and even to be able to be, what's the word we use? To be able to be connected better to the divine, you would need to be purified so that you can understand better. Sometimes we're clogged up and stuff like that, so it makes it harder for us to be able to retain if we're not
Mhm.
open and clear and purified. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. What happened to Sunny?
She wasn't able to hear, so I think she popped out the meeting and is probably going to try to get back in because her screens went out.
Mm, okay. Okay. Mm, yeah. Now, when she comes back, does she have to go back into the waiting room or does she just get back in?
She has to go into the waiting room first and then she can come in. But she's not in the waiting room yet.
Okay. Okay. Alright. So, Quista, how have you been? We haven't done a Q&A in this session yet. Do you have any questions or comments about the 2 other sessions or the 2 other segments? There she is.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I don't know what happened. It just started going out. I'm like, what?
No, it's okay. We're waiting for you.
Okay,
I
I'm
was
back.
just saying that I wanted you guys to have a few minutes before because I can dive right in and we'll just start, right? I love to teach and to really get that blood flowing for us. So, but I want to take a minute and pause and give respect to the energies that led in to this moment and the information that was given, and allow for a moment or two for you guys to make comments and ask questions about or regarding the breath work that we did, and also the session with ancestral veneration. Any questions or comments? At least one question, at least one comment. You muted, Sonny.
Okay, I'm trying to get the hang of it again. As far as with the breath work, would that be considered the same like the one that we do earlier? Is that like the fire breath, or is it called rapid breathing or fire breathing or something like that? You know, when you go through the nose and it's like at a fast, rapid pace though?
No, the ones that I taught were more restorative breaths, not the activating breaths. A lot of those breaths I know are in connection to Kundalini energy and stuff like that, but the techniques I taught were specifically to calm the nervous system.
Okay.
So they're meant to be done at a slow rate.
Okay.
Good question. Quista?
What could I do to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do for my ancestor veneration? Like, what's some tips? I kind of know what to do for the most part, but like, I got so much going on in here. I just need to find, I guess, a designated time, maybe.
Mm-hmm. When we were in your session, did we talk about routine and rhythm?
No.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
So one of the things that I teach my adepts early on in the process is the importance of discipline, spiritual discipline. And in having spiritual discipline, you have to set aside time for yourself, meaning self-care. Your ancestors are you. That is self-care. And I don't know if it was your session, but in one of the sessions, I gave the homework of noticing when you thought about your ancestors or when you thought about spirituality, to notice the day, time, and frequency, like just jot it down and bring it back the next Sunday. So I'm not sure if that was you, but I would offer that to you as well, because what you want to do is start to build a natural rhythm and a natural routine, something that naturally works for you. Because what I teach is that this is not a practice to play with, meaning that I am not going to disappoint your ancestors in showing you the way just for you to drop it when the next, say, phase or a fad or something happens, or the next stressor happens and you revert back to old ways. You have to build a discipline and a routine and a ritual, right? That's what ritual is, around your self-care and your ancestral time in your altar. Because, and this is fast forward, right? So I teach you fundamentals so that when you go advanced in your practice, you have the basics down correctly, okay? And so fast forward, we have practitioners who are doing all type of spell work, root work, protection. They're doing all kind of work. and they're not consistent, and you start to invoke and you start to feed your ancestors, and then all of a sudden you stop for whatever that is. Maybe you done got you a man, and now he, got your time, and so now you can't go on your altar. Maybe you got you a new job, and now you ain't consistent as you used to be. Whatever the situation is, right? I'm just throwing stuff out there, but life happens. Okay. And so when life happens, sometimes, and I'm not saying this is anybody on the Zoom, but sometimes what I've seen in my time in teaching and being a teacher is that students will get to a certain point and then they fall off. And then when they come back to me, it's because they got negativity going on in their life and they don't know why. And they need me to get it off of them. And all it really is you was feeding grandma, you was feeding great auntie, you was feeding all of them, and then you stopped putting the bowl out. Did you get the money? I'm on a Zoom call right now, Elder. Got it? I'm on a Zoom call right now, Elder. Thank you. Sorry about that. He's hard of hearing, so I wasn't trying to be rude. I know I had to raise my voice. It's just because the elder is hard of hearing. He didn't have his hearing aid in. Aquavi J knows how it is. That's why she's up there smiling. Every household needs an elder and they need babies. So if your household, you ain't got an elder, you need to get one in your household. I see y'all got babies, so that's good. So y'all got to get the other end going. Every household need elders and babies.
Y'all ain't met my granny.
It keeps you humble. We all need some type of covering, wisdom, guide. We all need it.
That's my favorite person in the world, but she's something else.
Man, that's why they got the granny flat. They have the houses in the back. Granny
She
can have
need one in the back. Baby, granny cusses you out. She don't care about how you feel about it. She gonna tell it like it is.
And can't nobody tell her nothing. Can't nobody tell
her question.
Yes, go ahead.
So as far as like with the ancestor veneration, right? And just to piggyback off what you was just saying, like, certain things do go on in our lives and we're not able to really get back to that altar. And I personally, like, I'm the type of person, I move around a lot. So I'm like, if I can't get to the altar, I always keep the altar with me. So I keep bags with me with certain, just things in there, like my crystals, books, journals, cards, just all type of stuff. Recently, now I didn't have, it's like I can tell, like when you're doing certain things and you're doing it right, it's like it started becoming more and more complicated to do it. And I can tell, like, the more I get down that journey, it's like, I don't know if it's the individuals that's being attracted to me. And it's like they claim, they understand what's going on, but they really don't. Or you can feel them like secretly praying or wish on you, like just saying certain things. Cause I can hear certain things. I can feel that energy from people. And it's like now I'm to the point where I can't get to the altar or anything like I normally was able to. And I'm just in like, I'm big on like receiving visions and dreams and things. So once I made it to New Orleans yesterday, I was going back to my car and I just noticed like this blue jay feather literally right in front of my car door. So I kept it with me and I literally had a dream about it last night. I'm like, man, I should have put it under my pillow. Forgot to though. But I can tell like, okay, spirit know that I'm back home. They know I'm back in my roots, that root stable where we come from. And it's like they're asking for certain things, but it's like, okay, well, how can I give that or give certain offerings? And I'm not really in the best place or predicament to do so, especially for what they really asking for.
Mm-hmm. What I would say is start where you are with what you have. And I appreciate you saying, I just keep bags. I just keep it on me because Abla and Akwabi have heard me say in other sessions to people who say just what you said, I don't have my own space or I move around a lot. What do I do when it comes to ancestral veneration? And that's part of the advice that I would give. Right. And so I'm gonna go back just to get to where you asked us to come, Sonny. And so going back to Quista, what I was saying as far as building a routine, it's very important to build a routine and build a natural routine because life does happen, right? And when life happens, it has to be something that's wired in you, just like waking up, brushing your teeth in the morning.
Right.
And as far as I know, I'm just gonna speak for most people. When you wake up, the first thing you do is go brush your teeth and wash your face before you even leave the house. It feels weird. It feels strange to leave the house and your mouth ain't been brushed and you got sleep in your eye. Like, it's because we build a ritual around it, right? And that's how our ritual needs to be when it comes to our self-care. So for some of us, especially us as mothers, right, with a lot of responsibility, we have to do the natural rhythm for us. And the natural rhythm may not be every day. We might have to have designated days or a designated day in the week, right? If you guys want a day or designated times that are attached to your person, your reincarnation, let me know. We could work together on that. I could find out which day is for you. But until you get to that level, just something that you can do, I would say, is monitor your natural rhythm or the natural time of day that you can pull away 5, 10, 15 minutes to yourself, completely to yourself. Now, whether you do the breath work, exercises, or meditation, or whether you just do prayers or burn candles or pour, wherever you are on your journey, whatever you can do during that time period. For one, I would time myself to see how long I have, right? And then also take down and take note of the frequency that you have. And before you set a rhythm for yourself and say, oh, it's going to be this time or this day or that, just see what your body, what your life is naturally calling for, even the environment, right? So maybe it's always this time of day, but you always see it's always midday, but you're always at work, right? Or it's always this time of day, and it's never when you're at home, right? In that instance, or maybe you don't have a space. Now we're going to transition into more of your answer, Sunny. And what I would say to that is, especially in the beginning, you have the freedom and the flexibility to venerate in nature, venerate anytime, anywhere, any place. Is the more that you learn, you do have kind of boundaries set in order to maximize the connection. But in the beginning, you're just trying to find your way, right? I liken it to a baby, right? We all have children on the call. So when you have a child and they learning how to walk, right? They just getting up off their belly and learning to pull up on the table. Y'all remember that stage? They start to pull up on the table and they start to take them few couple of steps, right? They taking them few steps. We don't bombard the child with, don't you go out that door. Don't you go down them stairs. We don't bombard them with all the rules. Put your shoes on, take your shoes off in the house. We don't bombard the child with all of that, right? We just want them to focus on putting one foot in front of the other, and we want them to focus on balance, how to do it. And so that's how it is or that's what I'm explaining in this instance. As you become more mature in your spiritual practice, there are more, um, there's more knowledge to learn to get you higher senses of potency, right? And accountability with the divine. But in the beginning, it's just getting you to acknowledge them, because like Abla said, this society totally removed ancestral veneration from the society. I think, and I ain't read the Bible in a while, it's a good book, I'm not against it. I think somewhere in there it does talk about maybe the Quran too, I don't know, I haven't had one of those in a while, but it talks about honoring your parents so that your days on this earth will be long. Yeah. Right? And that's where they cut it off. And it's they don't say nothing about once they transition, you know, your grandma, your grandpa, they don't talk about none of that, because like she said, that's where the power is, right? But we know that there is, and I'll say this to you guys, Quisa, you might have heard me say it in the last session. Whatever God you believe in, doesn't matter the denomination, doesn't matter the name that you call them, higher source, power, creator, whatever you call him, in order to create you, he had to use, in order to access you, he had to use your mother and father. That's it. There was no wand. There you go. That didn't happen with none of us on the call. Your kids that came here, you had to come with a masculine counterpart, and y'all had to create together, right? Those are universal divine principles in this existence that we're governed by, right? That the creator put into place. And so because that is the flow in which the creator put in place to create you, that is also the reverse flow in which you go back up to access the creator or the unseen dimension. So it is through your DNA, it is through your ancestors, it is through the bloodline that has come before you that you go or access the divine. It's everything within you. You know, religion would like to make it seem like it's someone or something outside of you. And that is what makes us servants or slaves to things outside of us. That's bondage, right? And I'm not against religion. Let me just say this. I'm not against religion because I'm a light worker, just like Christianity is supposed to be making Christians or Christ light workers. But you don't need the person or the human or the Son of God, Jesus Christ, in order to access God. That there are other ways. Can you go that way? Sure. But are there other ways? Yes. And those ways in society have been closed or blocked down because it perpetuates the mindset of you need a savior, you need a master, you need a slave owner, you need someone outside of you to show you the way, right? You see how it's a little bit of a manipulation there? Whereas truly in spirituality, we know that it's everything within us, right? Like I said, in order to access the divine, we go through the ancestral realm, which means we need to learn more about our parents, more about our grandparents, reverence and respect them, more about what we're good at, what we do, all of those things, because walking in that flow is what spiritually gives us the protection. It's like an energetic line. And when you step on that energetic line, that connection, that beam, that is true source. Like you, it seems like all green lights, right? You guys been driving before and you look and all the lights just turn green. Boom, boom. When you got 5 green lights. That's how it is when you're in complete alignment. Okay. And that's flow directly up. And that happens when we access back up. And so for so long, we have not, getting back to the questions, we have not even acknowledged that change. We have not even acknowledged or thought of our ancestors or the ones who come before us, even called their names, given them anything. And so when you have this generation of us, you got these babies right now, us talking about we the babies. You got this generation right now, we trying to go back to practicing. Some of us are first generation practicers all over again, right? You have us going back. It's like, okay, we start lighting the candles. We start with our family tree and saying their names, and we start spending time in the altar. We even build an altar, and then all of a sudden we stop. It's just like, oh, man, and that can, it's like if you starving and somebody, you can always go on Thursday and get a meal, and you become dependent on that meal, right? And maybe you got to sweep up a little bit, maybe you got to clean up, but you sweep up, you clean up, you do something for that meal, they're going to give you that meal, right? And so that's how it is with ancestors. They start to expect, they start to like that exchange, and they start to do things for us because, for one, that's your granny. They want to, right? That's what they've been waiting on. For two, they have the energy and the power to, right? Because you're giving them that energy, you're giving them that power, that acknowledgement, that energetic exchange. And so now they have the energy to go move things in your favor. Whereas before they didn't. And so then at some point you fall off. And so now they lose that energy again. And now they start to shake you. Now they start to shake life. Because they need you to pick up where you left off, because you're the one called and you're the one chosen. So what I would say to that is, if you don't have a designated space, or you find that you move around a lot, to create a mobile designated space. What do I mean by that? It can be a bag, it can be a shoebox, it can be a treasure chest. If you see behind Aqua VJ, this was one of my first mobile altars right there. It's a chest. And inside there, I would put my incense. I would put my little, everything that I needed. My pictures, my incense, my charcoal, my lighter. I had designated everything. I didn't use that lighter for nothing else but my altar. I didn't use those incense or that charcoal for nothing else but my altar. I had tea lights, especially for my altar, and everything. I had pictures, handkerchiefs, other family memorabilia, and it was all in the box. And you could put it all in the box, the shoebox, the bag. You put it all in your crystals too. I remember part of my journey, I was traveling around the world, and every revolutionary and that I would go visit, whether it's their grave, their house, their plantation, I would take them, I would do an exchange. I would give a little bit and then take whatever it was, whether it was a rock or a piece of soil or a feather or something. And I would put that in my altar as well. And so I kept all of that in one place. And so whenever that time was, right, whatever my rhythm was, whether it was daytime, midday, nighttime, whatever it was, despite the location, I would open up my box and I had it wrapped in a cloth in a white rug, and I would take the right rug and I would lay it down, and then I'd put the box on the rug, and then that would be my designated space. And I would sit and do my meditation, whether it was at the park, it was at the beach, and sometimes I'm at the house, and I would just do it at the house. You do it anywhere, but you designate certain materials. You have certain cups, certain saucers, certain calabashes, and you only use it for this. And so that signifies, okay, I'm doing spiritual activity. I'm acknowledging my ancestors. I'm doing this. Everything for your spiritual practice. And that creates ritual. That creates the discipline. And you don't have to be tied to, oh, it's not perfect. Oh, I'm not at home. Oh, I can't do it exactly the way that I know it's supposed to be. The important thing is that you do it, that you push yourself to do it. Okay. That answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Would you say it should be like a wooden box, or any kind of box?
I would
I have a
say,
Would a
wooden one.
wood box, a wood box would be better?
I would say to listen to your intuition.
Okay.
If wood is
Yeah.
what's coming to you, that's what you do.
Yes, definitely. That was the first thing, like, oh, I need to get a wooden box. Especially when I seen it on the back. Oh, and okay, one last question. Oh, as far as like still pertaining to this. Now, because I'm not gonna lie, things did get a little shaky. And I know when spirit is speaking, they like, because I know that's their love language, you know?
Right.
That's that energy. So it's gonna go with whatever the tide's flowing. And I know, like I said, they I know when they want offering, you know? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, damn, I don't be in the right spot to just up and leave offerings. Like, for example, my mom and my grandmother, they both smoke. And I
Mm-hmm.
know what their favorite pack of cigarettes are. And literally, that's all that's been coming to me is like, get these cigarettes. And I'm like, why would I go buy some cigarettes? I don't smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, as I pulled up, because I just made it down here, when I seen that feather and I'm still looking around, I seen literally the same a box of cool, but it wasn't the box, it was just the logo of the cool box that they both used to smoke. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just like by the big oak tree right in front of this house, which her address is literally what I would call my spirit numbers. And I'm like, what are the odds that this girl, it's the same thing. So I'm like, okay, so do I just go buy the cigarette? Like, I know you're supposed to burn it, but I'm like, exactly, because I'm like, I can feel it. I know they're asking for something. Like, is that some type of form of communication because they asking for that type of divination or that ancestral veneration, like through that type of form
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to get back
And
into
there's,
that tune?
yeah. And so you can buy the cigarettes, put them on the altar. You can, or lay them out. You can smoke one or take a couple puffs and let it burn. Um, um, you can, and that's signifies the acknowledgement. And then also, if it's the mother energy, there's other offerings and other things you can do to honor the mother energy as well. So it would, yeah, that particular. So let me ask: has your mom transitioned? The
Yeah.
two people that you brought up.
Hmm.
So what I would say is the mother energy, acknowledge that energy, meaning your mother that you know, the one that gave birth to you, but also the lineage of mothers the 2,456 ancestors that came before you, that needed to create you, that had wombs, to honor that whole lineage. There's things that you can do to honor the maternal lineage. But definitely, if you feel that pull, do that thing and do it then. Because
Right.
if you are, I hate to use the word obedient, but if you listen and you do it rapidly, then they know, okay, she's using her gifts. She can hear us. Not only can she hear us, but she's manifesting our will. And if they know they can use you to manifest their will, they'll use you more.
Yeah. That's what I've been getting. It's just I notice how my brain operates, and I'm like, are they asking for a pack of cools, or they telling me just to be cool? Because like when you just going through, and I'm like, okay, they telling me just cool, stay calm, collective, or they saying, well, we need these, on the altar. Because I'm like, okay, well, I gotta manage with what I gotta work with, as far as money wise. And I'm like, well, they got the Dollar Tree right around the corner. They got the little arts and crafts spot. I go get one of those little wooden boxes that they have from there. I have a duffel bag that I keep everything in already. But I'm not gonna lie, like I be a little bit now way more conscious about it because recently, like as soon as when I was in Texas, I brought my car. I told you I carry a bag with me. And the day that I brought my backpack with like my cards and like everything, I was at the park with my kids and literally somebody just went in my car and stole my bag out of there with like majority of all of my ancestors. They even stole my baby diaper bag.
Mm.
So I was like just so mind boggled by that because I'm like, out of every like my son have an iPhone, that was on the seat, but they didn't even take the phone. They just took the bag.
Mm.
And I'm just like, it didn't even dawn on me about my bag until later on that night when that just crazy storm or something just randomly happened. And I'm like, that instantly just made me even more fear. And that's when it's like it just started pouring down out of nowhere. Because yeah, you gonna say something?
Oh, sorry, someone was coming in. What came to mind I wanted to ask though was, are you a diviner? But I think you answered that in saying you have cards that you use. You have a way to connect. Um, and what comes to mind when I hear that your bag got stolen and it was the bag with all of your spiritual stuff in it is like perseverance to the next level, like it's pushing you deeper into your practice.
I was
Meaning,
like, I don't know if they seen the ancestor money in there. They thought it was real money. I'm
right,
like, they
whatever
must
their
have thought.
whatever their issue is, right? The fact that you're walking the ancestral path, you have to know, and you have to put this in your wishes and when you pray for yourself and your children, that you ask for their protection and their guidance because this is how you're living your life. So if that's the case, nothing happens to a spiritual person unless their spiritual team allows it to happen. Right. So if your spiritual team allowed that bag to be stolen, whatever the reason, right, that's not your focus, or why, or who, I'm not why, but who, or why they didn't take it. Like that's the distraction. The thing is, okay, they allowed it to be stolen. So what does this mean for me? This means I have to work that much harder to get back to where I was. And in working that much harder, that means you'll be more disciplined, right? If you do it successfully, you'll be more disciplined, you'll be more regimented, and it'll actually catapult you to a higher level than where you are. It's like when you look at a graph, right? An upward trend. It has a point, say, let me see, y'all can see this pen. It has a point here. You never see a graph that goes like that. Wait, I can't see if y'all see the pen. You never see a graph that goes like this, that goes straight up, right?
Mhm.
There's always like this, that, this, that. It goes up, down, up, down. And so them taking your bag pushes you back a few steps, right? But it's like in science, how we learn about energy and resistance, right? Or when you learn in the Kabbalion and you learn about um, the different rhythms and the pendulum, how it swings back and forth. It's like you have to have that catapult back in order to push you forward. Does that make sense? So
Definitely.
so them taking your bag, that was a setback, right? That was the catapult back to spring you forward. But that's only when you do the work and the momentum, right? Because if you don't do the work and use that resistance in your favor to push you forward, that resistance will just lead to a continuation of destruction and downward journey. It's all in your perspective. And one of the things that I like about you is that when adversity hits, you go to the positive. I could be wrong, but I heard you say when trauma hits that you stop eating and you go outside in the sun. Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Naturally,
Mhm.
right? One of the things I teach is about spiritual purity. And one of the characteristics about spiritual purity is that when you want to increase your connection with the other dimension, you have to refrain from doing things that the spirit world doesn't have to do. Do you remember this, Quista? You didn't get this teaching either? Okay, maybe we go into it. What time is it? Oh, we had 10:20. Okay. We had 10:20. Okay, so we have another session starting in 30 minutes. And we kind of went over. And if I go into that, it's gonna be a whole thing. Here's what we can do. No, because it's about 15 to 20 minutes long. Here's what we can do. I don't know what you guys' time is like, but we're gonna start this at 11. I would say that's 11 my time. Right now it's
That's
10:20 my time.
so that's 1 hour time, right? Okay.
Yes, so one
One.
your time. So by the time I come on in this second session, it should be around 12:15, 12:30-ish, which is 2:15, 2:30-ish. If you guys want to hear more or you want me to continue teaching on that, pop in at that time.
Okay.
Okay. And then y'all just
Definitely.
remind me because it's another session and I'm completely focused and where I'm at with the group. So what you are gonna want me to teach is teach the heal the healer portion about purity, spiritual purity.
Yeah, I'm just so appreciative of all of this.
You're welcome.
I agree.
You know, it's not every day that you get to just get that. You know, I told you my mom passed away when I was 11, and I lost my grandmother a couple of years after that. And then you know, it's like every time I notice me getting close to like these, you know, older, more, you know, women, it's like I just lose them. And I'm, you know, I'm the type of person, like I've always been spirit. I've never been religious, even though I come from that background, but I've always been spiritual. I always had a connection with just talking to myself. And the moment when I used to tell myself, I don't know what y'all believe in, but I'm like, I just believe in the sun. I'm like, I love the sun a lot. I'm like, and I just, that's what I since I was a kid. And to grow up and really start seeing everything that people would say, girl, you just tripping. That's something you seen on TV. Where you get that from? To see, like, no, this was an actual system. This was
Yeah.
something set up in place. And they were
Yeah.
trying to tell you you're crazy for feeling and believing that. And I'm like, maybe, you know, these women, I get a little taste of it and then I don't have it anymore. And I'm like, I guess, you know, just me talking to myself, trying to make the best of things. I always try to rationalize it so it makes some type of sense. I don't like being in limbo. I don't like not knowing something and just being, you know, curiosity. And I'm like, I guess they're just supposed to take on that little information and go with it, you know, take that and just roll with it throughout life until the next thing come along or the next individual to help teach me or teach me something new or help give me some type of confirmation and know that whatever, you know, track that I'm on, I'm going in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you definitely are. It would be interesting to find out more about your spiritual profile and some of your reincarnation journeys, right? I've seen it in my experience where there are people who have such big destinies, um, to where they can't, if their energy is around, they will, like, they have to be the head energy, so to speak. And so if they are around, other energies will have to move away because their destiny and their energy, their star is so big. I've seen it to where uh, if a child is in a house and their energy and destiny is so big, or they have that particular calling on their life, either the father can't be in the house or the mother can't be in the house, or sometimes they transition, or some, like, it has to do with the reincarnation. But it's a good thing about the the child or the person in their star. But you have to know that in order to be cared for and live the right life, and in order to develop that to its fullest potential. Otherwise, it can be, uh, you can be lost. You can be lost, or not get the fulfillment in this lifetime, not focus on the right things, or have a negative thought about people transitioning when it's actually in your benefit because of how powerful you are. So it'll be very interesting to see, like, who you are energetically. Yeah. Okay, I gotta go because y'all know we could do this, and it's already
I'm
been
look at me. I'm like, I trust me.
Okay.
I'm knowing because I can sit here and listen all day.
Okay, well, I hope you guys come back on. If you want to come
Certainly.
back in for the same, if from the beginning all the way through, you definitely can. Or if you want to come about the hour and a half mark, um, just so you can catch when I come in and we can pick up the conversation, you can do that as well. It's your choice. What we'll do, we'll drop the link for the second session that's about to start in 20 minutes. We'll put that in the Divine Feminine chat. I think both of you are in the chat. Quista, you're in the chat, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so it'll be in there. And then if you guys persevere and make it through, and want to see or want to learn more, then I'll see you in about an hour, hour and a half.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right. All right. So I'm going to end now. And I'll see you guys then. Okay.
Okay.
Be well.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Alrighty.